All right, so welcome to today's hot seat discussion where we bring you insights to answer the question of what's working now, coming directly from Fitness Revolution Coaching Partners. I'm your host, Justin Hanover, and I've been in the industry since 2008 and now a success coach with Fitness Revolution, committed to helping gym owners build the business they want. A couple things before we dive into today's hot seat discussion. I'm going to obviously quickly introduce our guest today. And then I also wanted to let you know that I'll be following up with you after the interview to invite you to join us in our Facebook group, the Fitness Business Mastery. So be on the lookout for that after this. So now for today's guest. Today I have the pleasure of talking with Anna Woods. And Anna Woods is a wife, mom of three. She is founder of SheSTRENGTH, which is her unique program and method, along with her online fitness app. She has based her entire 18-year career on helping the unlikely athletes find their value and worth through fitness, nutrition, but mostly through the belief that I am enough. Her goal is to redefine fitness from basing our worth and progress off of a scale number to that of crossing our own personal finish lines. She coaches women, kids, and people with special needs 3 to 4 days a week out of her barn gym on her home property in rural Kansas. She is also the strength and conditioning coach for the Hutchinson Blue Dragon softball team. Anna just recently developed the Adaptive Fitness Exercise Specialist Certification Program, so personal trainers can become certified to train clients with special needs for the American Council on Exercise, which will be launched later this summer. Anna, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend it with us and share your journey and insights in helping others in the community.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And first off, I just want to say how jealous I am with your barn gym. That's like a goal for myself.
Yes, it's handy to be able to go out to my garage, teach a few classes, go back in, throw a load of laundry in, come back outside, do
Yeah.
my work.
No,
And I always tell people I feel like I get to invite people to my home, like I get to host my clients on a personal level, which is a little different than a workspace. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's fantastic, and it's a very optimal setup to have something like that.
Yeah.
So it definitely is fantastic. But so let's start with just giving everyone perspective on where you were at with your business prior to COVID, just so we can have an understanding of the changes that you made through this past year.
Yeah, I feel like I was one of the few coaches that was prepared for COVID unknowingly. One, because I've had an online fitness program since 2015, 2016. So I already had an online program established. I already had an app with clients steadily using it. I had all my videos already made that I use every month. So in some respects, I feel like I didn't have to change a lot. I was able to just convert all my one-on-one clients and the people I was working with in small groups all onto my online platform. And I still had my same class schedules that I was doing when people came to my house. I just did it Facebook Live from my gym on those same class hours. So in that respect, I feel like I was a little bit ahead of the game because I didn't have to change a lot, which was really nice for me. I have kids with special needs, so I developed an online program because it was so hard for me to be consistent early on with being present for classes. And I feel like a lot of my early community were other moms or parents of people with special needs that couldn't go to a gym, or they didn't have daycare services for their child for the needs that their child had. And so that was a preface for where my online platform came from. But it proved very helpful during the last year with COVID. But in terms of moving forward now where I'm at, I have changed the setup of my gym. I used to do hourly classes or hourly sessions. Now we have more of an open gym schedule, and people that follow my app or come to the gym have varying time slots so that they can come, trying to keep 4 to 5 at a time coming through the gym in the hours. But I do that every 15, 20, 30 minutes. So like I'll have open gym time from 5 to 7 p.m. People can come anytime during that time slot and complete their workout. And myself and my intern are walking around coaching, but we're not actually leading the class. That came as a byproduct of COVID, but has also proved actually really it's been really successful for our gym, because I realized a lot of women early on, especially now with COVID and the kids in different class schedules and in different time slots of their day, everyone's schedule is crazy right now. Women wouldn't come to class if they thought they were going to be 10 or 15 minutes late to the class. So now that they know they can come and we're not already an established group, they can come and go as they please. I have a lot more higher retention rate, and actually bigger classes now than I had before. I think partly because of this change that I made with my hourly schedules being more open.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's a fantastic pivot that you made, and really showing that you're understanding your clients, what's going on in their lives, rather than forcing them to conform to something
Right.
just because that's what you always did.
Right.
And
Right.
I think we can get lost in that sometimes, of like, oh, this is what I've been doing, this is what everyone has
Yes.
to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we can make adjustments, and that's a perfect example of that. And I'm sure it's also easier on you too, in the sense of not having like these set start times and end times for like classes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it definitely, I think, like you said, gives a better flow to it.
Correct. We've even taken it a step further recently, and I don't know if this is a great word, but we call it chunking. So we've taken the workouts and actually chunked them into 3 parts. So if people come out and they only have 30 minutes to do the workout, they can pick 1 or 2 of the 3 chunks to do and get done in 20 or 30 minutes, or they can pick all 3 and get done in 45 minutes to an hour. That's also an option in the app. So now it's given people the opportunity to realize they don't have to do the whole workout. It's kind of helped me get rid of the all or nothing mentality. They don't have to come out and feel like if they can't get the whole workout done, they don't come. If they can get 1 of 3, we call it a success. And that's a personal finish line that we celebrate with everyone. So they'll check in and be like, got 2 of 3 done, got 1 of 3 done. And it's allowed people to be more consistent with showing up every day in some way, shape, or form, which is another element that we celebrate a lot. They might just get the foam rolling and the conditioning part of it done, and may not get the strength done that day, but that's fine, because at least got 20 minutes of the full workout in. So online and in my gym, that's also been a new thing that we've created since COVID, that's allowed people to kind of define their own fitness, I guess you could say, and their own approach to it. So I feel like that's another piece that's also helped people be successful and being more consistent, I guess.
Yeah,
People need that permission to not be perfect, I guess. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, it just further reinforces the fact that you really understand your clients, and
yeah,
like you're not trying to just force feed them like what you like in that sense. Because I think us, like being fitness professionals, like we're not the norm in that sense, that we enjoy working out, we like, it's something we look forward to doing, and
right.
if we can do it longer, we would. And I
Yeah,
think we forget that our clients aren't the same way. Like,
yeah,
it isn't something that they always look forward to. I mean, they may look forward to the human interaction in the community, but
right.
the workout piece, it isn't looked at in the same way. So I think you taking this approach really addresses that, and I think it makes it much more of a comfortable environment for everyone to flourish in. So I really like that. I haven't heard that type of approach before, so I think that's a refreshing perspective. And for you guys like watching and listening to this, how can you be paying more attention to your clients and what you're providing to them? Or do you get so stuck in your ways, or like how you do things, or how you like things done, that it's neglecting the needs of your clients? So that was a fantastic way to open this up. I think right then and there, I think like you gave some really good insight into helping people move forward in their business. So I think that was a good place to start.
Good.
So moving forward, with the discussion, I know some of the things that you've been working on with, obviously, your FR success coach, and one of the things being around keeping your focus, establishing your focus, and being able to set correct like weekly and monthly goals to make sure that you're progressing along. So I want to see if you can share a little bit about that, and maybe give us some insight into where you were with this, and how you were like operating to where you are now.
Yeah. My husband always says I live with my head in the clouds. I'm like a dreamer, a brainstormer, like a new idea person, which is great on one hand, but also really hard for me to sit down and stick to a goal, because I'm super intuitive with my clients, kind of like you said. So when I get a feel for things, I want to shift and like change. And that makes it sometimes hard for people because they're like, wait, what are we doing this week? What are we doing next month? And I would be grasping at all the shiny things, I guess you could say, a lot before I started working with you guys. So it's been really good for me to have someone be like, almost make me slow down a little bit and be like, these are the 4 things you need to do this week before we chat again, or over the next month. And then that way I can just have that. It's actually helped me minimize, I guess, the chaos. It gives me a focus point each month that I can sit down and check off. And as soon as I start to feel my mind start to stray to something else I want to try, I come back to my list that we've made each time we meet and make sure that I'm only putting my energy and focus on those 3 or 4 things each week. So specifically, that's been themes. So I usually do themes in our app every week or every month. Every 4 weeks, I change my programming or at least periodize it a little bit. So we've done team challenges. We did like March Madness. We did a team bracket. I split my clients all up into 2 groups and we did a March Madness. And each week it was bracket play based on workout retention, or we did Spirit Week 1 week. So they had to dress up every day in their workouts and post pictures of whatever the theme was for that day. And so it's helped me like not keep, like, this is the full month focus you're going to do. So like this month we're doing bikini boot camp. And so that's all that I have to worry about this month, is just making sure everyone's following the bikini boot camp. So having a theme every month and then planning ahead for that has allowed me to be able to look ahead and be like, I already know what I'm going to do. I don't have to stress about 2 weeks before changing it or adjusting it. Having set pricing is another one. I'm not good with numbers. I'm not a person that is motivated by numbers. And so having someone force me to look at the numbers each month in terms of income, in terms of expenses, in terms of clients, that's been good for me. Instead of, again, chasing all the things, now I have a set plan and can see progress in those numbers now because I'm measuring them. So those are probably the 2 specific things right off the bat that has been really helpful for me. So now when someone asks me, I can be like, here's the numbers, not, well, maybe, I don't know. So.
Yeah, no, and that's so powerful too, because like that moves you from like to being an empowered business owner, and that's where you want to be, because like then you can make good decisions. Like you're not just kind of shooting from your hip and hoping everything pans out. Like when you know your numbers, like like the heartbeat and the pulse of your business, and you can make appropriate decisions. So like that's such an important thing to like start establishing that habit. In terms of like setting like your to-dos, like your tasks and like what you focused on, did that come from being able to establish your longer term marketing plan, and then you're able to be like, okay, like now based from that wider view, now this is what I need to focus on this week?
Yeah. And not even in terms of marketing, probably more so like, these are how many people I want to average in my app every month. These are how many people I want to be training weekly hours. These are how many people I want to average at my class, which is one cool thing, because like Luke realized that money numbers are not a big motivator to me, but people are. So we changed the way we set goals and the way we measure it to like people, and helping me. And then as a result, now like my income has progressed from that. So it was cool for him to know me well enough to be able to say, all right, that wasn't necessarily working great for you. Let's go at it this way. And so now I'm motivated in that way. Like, these are the people I want to help this month. This is the specific niche that I want to go towards. Here's the numbers that I have to average each month to do that. And so that's motivating for me and also successful for me. Like you said, it's so easy as trainers to want to just work on the people and work in the business and not work on the business. And so knowing those numbers and knowing how to do these things now has actually given me confidence in speaking out a little bit as a fitness business owner, not just a trainer, and I don't say that in a negative way, but I think often we get stereotyped as just being bro sesh type of people. And it's important for me as a woman in business to also be seen as a professional too. So now I can speak the language and walk the walk, not just do the fitness workouts and post on Instagram. That's a powerful piece that means a lot to me as a female in the industry and as a female in business. With the SheStrength being my image and my focus, I want to live that out authentically also. So bringing my business numbers up to match was really important and something I was neglecting. And you guys have helped me do that. So.
Yeah, no, that's such an important thing. And again, like you said, I think a lot of like trainers, coaches, whatever you want to call yourself, get caught up into seeing themselves as just that,
Right.
which is fine, but it's not good enough, obviously, if you're a business owner. like,
Right.
you have to be able to put that business owner hat on as well, if you want a successful business. Because that obviously that has to be taken care of first in order for you to have the people to serve.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great insight. And then I also wanted to touch on the fact that, like, obviously, like working with Luke, like he's been able to see how you operate, what you respond to, and be able to play into that. And I just wanted to point, like, that's such a powerful benefit of, obviously, one, being able to work with somebody one-on-one, and two, having the right mentorship that isn't a cookie cutter approach that's trying to just force you into something, because not everybody responds to the same things, just like your clients. I mean, your clients respond to things differently. So you have to be treated differently to get the greater outcome that person's after. So I appreciate you sharing that, because, like, I think, like, so many people think that it's always about the money side of things, and it's not. Like, yes, of course, again, you're in business, you have to have profit, like you have to, like, you have to, it is part of it, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the focus to get to that place, because obviously, like you said, if your numbers are growing people wise, then logically your income would also be growing. So I appreciate you sharing that and that perspective. So then obviously you would say then, like, you being able to focus in on this stuff and step into more of the empowered business role, business owner role, and understanding, like, the metrics that you should be focusing on and setting your weekly goals and stuff like that has really helped you, especially through this past year with all of the uncertainty that's been happening.
Correct. I had my most successful year last year that I've ever had in business, and I was closed for 4 months. So
really,
yeah.
wow.
I mean, I had the online part still, but income wise and client wise, I had the most successful year last year. And I started with you guys at the beginning of last year. So it was hard not to be panicked. I always joke, like, I have a post-COVID PTSD, because you feel like when business starts to slow down, or it feels that way, it's so hard not to panic, because you don't want to be back in that place that you were during COVID shutdown, worrying about numbers. But, like, there was just this common consistency with talking with Luke every week and working through those close down times that allowed me to end the year stronger than I ever have. So it was a cool momentum swing into this year, and not feeling like last year was totally failing. I was able to stay busy and work through things that I wouldn't have known to do had I not had the instruction and leadership, mentorship from you guys. So
that's great. I mean, like, that's I love hearing that. Yeah, because I think sometimes, especially with everything that's been happening, people get so caught up in the doom and gloom and negative side of things, and really it comes down to a perspective shift, and how you're going to look at things, because, like, you, in many other cases like you, have actually flourished this past year, and why is that? I mean, it's not because, like, you necessarily had access to something secret, like, that other people didn't. It's like it starts up here, and, like, your perspective and how you want to address what's in front of you, and I think, like, obviously, like, just like when we first started this conversation, the changes that you made within your service exactly exemplify that, whereas, like, you could have easily said, no, I'm going to keep figuring out a way to make what I've been doing work, and you might not be in the same position that you're in now. So I mean, it definitely is it's a combination of structure and being able to be adaptable, like, and knowing when to do both.
Exactly. And it was nice to have the give and take like people would come to me with things during COVID, and it was nice to be able to be like, Luke, is this a good idea? Is this something that 6 months from now is going to be helpful for me, instead of just going, well, let's try it. You know, so there were some things I turned down that I probably wouldn't have beforehand, but having that someone in my ear, or an expert, be able to like talk through that with me, and help me make good decisions that obviously were great decisions, that moved me forward. So
Yeah, no, it's more minds obviously on a specific problem can move through things a lot faster.
right.
So I think that's a great insight to share on that. So I want to transition into like your marketing approach,
Mhm.
and how you were able to obviously establish a funnel through your website.
Yeah.
And so maybe like, give some insight and pull the veil back behind on that, and like kind of like what is exactly is your funnel, and what is your offer, and like how are you capitalizing on that?
Yeah. So during COVID, so before COVID, I was paying someone to do this, paying a lot of money for someone to design these funnels for me that were working semi okay.
Yeah.
And I started working with you guys, and they were like, we can help you set that up yourself. So during COVID, I actually I went through a local insurance agency, and then we did a 4-week, 4 other gym owners and I did a 4-week give back challenge. And we set the funnel up to work through my website, for people to collect email addresses and things. And then they got a 4-week free, I think it was 4-week. It was a 7-day, that's what it was. It was a 7-day access to my app, a phone call, which was pre-recorded, but it was a phone call, and tons of value through intro videos, through nutrition, through a teaser of what my app workouts would look like. And we set up a whole testimonials, pictures. She showed me how to use WordPress, and basically set up the whole funnel myself through my website. I mean, it took me a long time at the beginning, like several hours, but now I can literally sit down and just adjust the funnel how I want, hook my emails up to it, hook my Facebook ad up to it, and self-run it. And so I've done multiple ads and programs that have been super successful just from learning how to set that funnel up myself, and someone sitting down and showing me how to do it. And now I can do it myself, which has saved me a ton of money, but also made me a lot of money. We set up a virtual abs academy a year ago, a little over a year ago, and it is continually running. And I think we've made almost $7,000 off of that virtual abs academy, that we run once a quarter for 4 weeks. And I
Wow.
literally just adjust that Facebook ad 2 or 10 days before, change the funnel on my website a little bit, and it runs. And so it's been cool. I mean, I have no money invested in that. Like, we always
Yeah.
joke about it being called like the cash cow, because as soon as I turn it on, it runs, set the people up, all the Facebook posts are preset, and it goes on its own. But those are all things I did not have the tools to do prior to this. So having the template and someone sit down and show me, and then me being able to do it myself has been really helpful. So the original one was a 7-day free ad offer, and then I've changed it every so often to different type of offers, but still keeping the same core design and testimonial setup that works, that you guys sat down and showed me how to do. So
Excellent.
yeah.
I love that. And that's obviously, I mean, that is the dream to obviously have self-funded leads come in.
Correct.
uh,
Correct.
in that sense. So with these leads, so is that like your main thing that you're leading with right now?
Yeah, we're running an abs academy right now.
So then what's the process from they come in to the abs academy, and then where do they go from there?
I usually try to upsell them into my app, because they realize they can get a really good workout in 15-20 minutes a day. And we just focus on core and ab strength, and then we relay them in. So like in my app, you can set up, which is another thing you guys helped me do, verbiage to upsell, and gave me setups of how to make testimonial pictures. So as the abs academy is closing down, I'm sending them testimonials, and just snippets of like, this is what you got from 15 minutes a day of just training abs. Here's how we can progress to full body strength training, or cardio workouts or whatever every month for a subscription fee of blah, blah, blah. Mostly because I'm trying to stay under a certain number of hands-on clients. So I'm trying to sell as many people into the app right now as I can. So that's where all my funnels are going at this point, is to online programming. So.
Okay. And so you're not running anything for the actual barn gym, like your actual
just kids classes right now.
Just kids class. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent. What is, just out of curiosity, what is like the price point and structure work for your app?
It's $29 a month for 5 workouts a week with videos. And I have basically 2 templates, a strength or an endurance template that you can follow. And so a lot of it is auto generated. I set up posts in the calendar every month. Everyone that's following a generalized plan is in different groups. And yeah, so the basic template plan is $29 a month subscription.
Excellent. And that is something that you said you've been pushing since 2016?
Yeah, I've been building that since then. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And how did you go, just for somebody who might be interested in like kind of going this avenue and adding this as a supplementary offer to their facility? How did you go, like, where did you go about like actually creating the app?
Well, I started with YouTube playlists way back in the beginning. Really? And I would make 5 workouts a week, and I'd make private YouTube playlists and then just send them the link. And every week I would update the playlist of workouts for them to follow through. Then I moved to Facebook, and I would auto set like 4 weeks of the program, scheduled posts, and they would just show up every morning and they'd follow along with it. And then I progressed. I had a custom app made, and then the app business went out of business and left me hanging.
Oh, really?
So I went to Trainerize, and I've been with Trainerize the last few years. And then I just recently went back to a custom app in the last year of my own. So.
Excellent. No, I think it's good to highlight that and show your journey with it, because it doesn't have to be this perfect ideal thing right from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest thing is just get started, do something, be consistent with it, and then grow it to what makes sense for the level that you're at. And I think that's another underlining message there of like, do what makes sense for where you're at in your business right now. I mean, like, it's so easy, I think, especially now in the age of obviously social media, Instagram and everything, like to see other businesses and what they're doing, and like, okay, like that may be like a $5 million business you're looking at. Like you shouldn't, like, if you're not at that level, you shouldn't be trying to do what they're doing. It's not going to work.
Yeah. And I used to be so worried about my videos being perfect, because then my kids would come busting in the door asking questions or whatever. And as I've got to going, like, people ask that now. Like, if my dog randomly comes in while I'm doing an exercise and lays next to me on the floor, like, my clientele like that, because then they feel like their workouts at home don't have to appear perfect. And then I also record a lot of my own personal workouts and edit those snippets out, and those are what go in the app. Or if I'm training someone and I get their permission, I leave my camera running while I'm training them, and then those are my coaching tutorial videos that go in the app. So I try to work double time as much as possible, and I guess work smarter, not harder. So I don't recreate a ton of extra videos on my own time. I try to just use footage of me working every day. I'll put like a mic on or whatever, and I'll just edit those snippets down. And those are the coaching videos of the movements of me training another client during my day. So my camera is going a lot during my work day, but then I don't have to recreate videos. They're already done.
Yeah.
And then I also realized, at least in the online world, I used to think I needed to recreate workouts every week. And I've learned the online world wants repetition. They don't want to have to keep looking at videos over and over again. Like after the first week or second week, they kind of have the workouts memorized and they want to repeat that. So I almost template the same 4 to 6 weeks of workouts and keep those on repeat every so many months. I get bored coaching it, but I realized for the online presence, at least, people like that because they're working out at home because they don't have time to go to a gym, which means they don't have time to watch 30 minutes of video before they do 30 minutes of a workout. So
yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I mean, I can see that as a point of contention or causing frustration with somebody of having to always check in to like watch a video before they move forward with their workout each day or something like that.
Yeah.
I can see like that would be like just another step they have to do, and you're like like I don't feel like doing that today. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do
exactly. Like people will tell me that it took me too long to watch the videos on. I just didn't do it. So I figured that out really quickly, not to allow.
I think that definitely is I think a superpower that you have of being able to quickly pick up on feedback that people are giving you, and you run with it right away. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah, try to.
Yeah. um, Excellent. So I'm really obviously enjoying everything that you're sharing. And the next thing I want to transition into, kind of like the last like major topic to hit on was like with your team. And like I know you're slowly starting to expand your team beyond you, which is obviously a good thing. But I love the way that you're doing it, and that is with start like interns and focusing on like internship programs. And I think this is something that is definitely underutilized and should be used more, because not only does it help you as the business, but it helps the person going through it too. Like it really sets them up for success, rather than just kind of thrown into something and expect to pick up the culture right away and everything. So I mean, like that's a lot to ask of somebody. So I think it's a really great approach. So I'd love to hear like, how are you setting up your intern program, and like what does that look like for you, for someone that's maybe interested in starting something too?
Yeah, I drug my feet on hiring someone for a long time, because I didn't want to take the time to have to come up with a program to train them on. I'm a mover and a doer, and I'm like, it's just easier for me to do it, which I think is probably common for a lot of people in this business. So one of the things Luke was like, we have a 90-day internship program already made. We sat down and adjusted it to fit what I needed and to encourage my culture and my gym setup. And it was awesome. Like I approached, the college softball team that I work with, I approached the team first. I went to the college. They have a physical therapy assistant program. And I went to our high school and I said, I'm putting this out as my first round of this internship. So I'd really like to not post it publicly, but to get recommendations for this internship. And I got several names. I sent that information out and said, apply for this. And then I brought those people in and we did interviews. And then based off those interviews, I chose 3 girls. And they worked with me from November to the end of January on a very specific schedule. And it was a lot of give and take. Like this one of them's going into dietetics and nutrition. So she did a lot of the nutrition side. One was going into PT. So she did more of the post-rehab corrective exercise part of it with me. And one's going into more sports management and youth training. So she helped with a lot of the kids programming that I do. So they all worked together, but each had their own direction. And at first it was, I kept having to ask Luke, like, okay, but now I don't know what to do next. So it was cool to have, like, he helped me work through the steps that each of them had to follow. And we checked in with each week when we had our team meetings. And from the end of that 90 days, then I was able to hire my first employee who just started a couple weeks ago. And it's awesome because literally I'm like, here's your hours. You already know what to do. This is the new things I want you to do. And it has been like the best transition, knock on wood, so far. I haven't had to do the training. I haven't had to spend all the dreaded hours I was visioning in my head trying to make sure someone was doing their job, because for these 90 days leading up to this, she was prepped for that. I also got really good assistance and help without having to pay someone right out of pocket, right out at the beginning. And they were able to learn my culture. I required them to work out at my gym and be a part of my classes because I wanted them to develop relationships with my ladies and my kids and my clients with special needs. And then that way, when they become a coach, they're already seen as authority. They already know everyone. And it's been way easier than I thought it would be, because I had the template and the guidelines and the help from you guys to like make that transition. So I'm already getting ready to open up another internship program this summer. And it's nice to just be like, it's already set and done. Like all I got to do is put it out there. And now I know what to do. I have all the steps. I have all the contracts. I have all the templates that they have to follow. Like everything's duplicatable. And I have a system that I feel confident. And it's really cool now to be able to feed these young women business, because now I can talk business with them, not just the fitness side. And so that's
Yeah.
been cool to teach these girls how to be self-sufficient as an entrepreneur at 18, 19, and 20, which would have been amazing to have someone do for me when I was that age. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it definitely, it's not only setting up to give back to your facility, it's setting up to give back to the industry in itself, of putting more good people into the space.
Yeah.
And that's what we need more of. I mean, I think we lose sight of, it's not only just about, okay, whether they stay with you or not,
Right.
they've gained a valuable insight, and knowledge and wisdom into what they're doing moving forward. So you're helping produce more good people into the space, because that's only going to make everything better,
Right.
by having more good people come into the space for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, obviously you have the bonus of being able to have somebody move on with you. Then it's like fantastic.
Yeah.
Like they're ready to go. No issues.
Yeah.
Did you have like a time requirement of like how many hours like a week they had to be there?
Well, all three of them were in college or high school, so we limited to 5 hours a week.
Mm.
Part of their we did a huge charity event at the end of the year, and a lot of their hours went into preparing that, setting it up, organizing it, marketing it, and then hosting it at my gym. So towards the end, it was probably more like 10-ish or so hours a week, but pretty steadily we stuck to 5. And they had homework each week that they had to keep track of. They were required to post on social media and use certain hashtags I gave them, tag me in their stuff. So some of it was like homework, but in terms of like gym time and that, it was basically around 5 hours a week. That
Yeah,
they were.
no, I think that's a fantastic approach, because like I said, it's also a way for you to see more in depth into a person and what they're really about. Because, like, I mean, you can have all the interviews you want, like you're not really going to see what somebody's about,
Right.
until you spend some time with them. And obviously through like a 3-month internship, like you're going to really know somebody. And
Yeah.
so like it's also going to give you insight. Okay, like, do I want this person to continue with me
Yeah.
after the internship? So it's a really great way, instead of like, the old saying of like, you want to hire slow and fire fast. I mean,
Right.
like, this really allows you to do that.
Yes. Very much so.
So it's almost like we can't become a victim of our own weaknesses when it comes to hiring. Because I know like that was always a point of contention for myself too. It's almost like, okay, like trying to see through the veil that they're putting there.
Yeah.
It's okay. Who are you really, and what are you like
Right.
really about?
Right.
I mean, it's always a gamble. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this really kind of evens the playing field, and puts it in a way to not only nurture this person, but really see who they're about and allow them to see who you're about. Because I mean, like,
Yeah.
they may get into it and realize, yeah, wow, this wasn't for me. Like,
Right.
like, and
But
that's
it's also, 2 things happened that I didn't foresee happening. One, they brought in a clientele that I would never tap into. I'm close to 40 and I'm not going to relate to a lot of 18-year-olds. But part of them was to develop their own program in their area of interest. And so the girl that I hired is going to probably actually have a teen girls class one night a week that she's going to teach herself this summer, which would not be I mean, I have a teenage daughter, but she doesn't think I know anything. So
yeah.
having somebody else come in, my daughter thinks she is the coolest. She's going to attend her class. And then my daughter's friends or the girls that this gal knows are going to attend that. And then the second piece is getting feedback on my own coaching. I was super vulnerable and open at the beginning and actually asked them to give me feedback and critique me and talk to me about things that I need to improve on, because it's so easy when you run your own business to get into this is the way we're going to do it. And really awesome critiquing back on things that I can work on and improve on, and avenues of social media that maybe I didn't know about or be a part of. Like, one of the things we're looking into is, like, I have TikTok, I do not use it, but like these girls do dorky TikTok things from my gym space that they tag my gym on that brings in an audience that I would never be able to tap into or bring awareness to. So having the interns at a different place and time and a different population basically has allowed me to expand in a different way also that I didn't foresee being there.
Yeah. No, I think it kind of goes back to what we said too, it's a different type of mentorship in that sense of, and that's kind of how like your team should be looked at. Like they should be looked at as assets, and each
Yeah.
person coming onto your team should be contributing to the growth of the business. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be hindering it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think that's how business owners look at like employees, as like, it's an expense. And it's like, well, yeah, it's an expense, and a very
Mhm.
big expense if you didn't bring them on the right way, and they're not contributing to the business. But with
Right.
what the way you've established it, and how you're bringing them into the business, and like having ownership within the business, is fantastic. And it's setting that stage for them to be a contributor of the business's growth, and not just relying solely on you. And that
Yeah.
is the point of obviously expanding it on you, because it shouldn't just be
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah.
It should be on everybody in the team contributing to it, and making the bigger picture happen. So I think that's a phenomenal way to grow your business. And for those of you guys that are out there listening that haven't been building your team yourself because of that fear, or you are building a team and you're struggling with it,
Yeah.
this would be a solid avenue to progress down, to start erasing a lot of the issues or concerns that you have, because it definitely does do that.
Yeah. We did like a weekly update on social media of like intern week number 3, intern week number 4. So it kind of became like something we'd post the bloopers. Like I'd have them make the app videos, and we'd post the bloopers of them trying to make the app videos at the beginning and like screwing up their words or whatever. And so it also became a way for me to advertise that side of my business that people don't get to see very often, of the funny, like
Mm,
dorky parts that were real. And then people wanted to log in to see whatever stupid stuff that they did that week. And as a result of sharing that, our local high school actually reached out to me, and they're trying to create a internship program similar to what I did with their high school students and small businesses in the area. So I actually also have another gal that just started working with me as an intern, and she's going into communications and photography and wants to work for like newspaper magazine in
mm,
college. She's only in high school. So she's coming out like 3 hours a week and doing all my videos, all my
wow.
pictures, all and editing them all for me and giving them back to me as part of her school assignments at her high school. Like her teacher's letting her leave school and come do this and then go back to school and edit them. And it's part of her transition into programs or whatever. But had I not put all this internship information out there and like actually had the guts to finally push through, thanks to Luke, it's actually opened other avenues for me to get to bring people in that aren't even interested in fitness but are interested in the business marketing side, which also takes another weight off of me.
Mhm.
Now I have really cool videos that are actually me included in them, that a side internship that the school has developed because of what we were doing, to do as well. So
Yeah, and there's like an unlimited benefit, obviously, to
yeah.
expanding things beyond you. Because I mean, like you can't be the master of everything,
Right.
uh, and that shouldn't be the goal. Like I
Yeah,
mean, like that's stressful and exhausting.
exactly is.
Like you should be allowed to stay in your lane of creativity and what
Right.
lights you up, and you bring other people in that obviously where their lane is different than yours,
Yeah.
and they excel in that, because that's when you obviously have a thriving business. Then when you have elite people in different lanes focusing on their piece of the business,
Yeah.
and coming together. So I think that's a really great insight around that. um, as we work towards wrapping up the conversation, I always like kind of like ending with uh, a focus on like mentorship, and like kind of like the value of it. Obviously, we know that you value mentorship. So it's obviously had an impact on you over the past
Yeah.
year, and it continues to. But I want to see if you can like maybe speak to the person, like the business owner out there that's listening to this, that has gone through this past year or longer without any type of mentorship, and how you think, how you feel like having mentorship, especially over let's talk over this past year, has helped you move forward, and how you think it would have gone for you if you didn't have this mentorship.
Yeah, I probably made some of the biggest pivots in my business in the last year that I've been dragging my feet on, or I wasn't even aware of, or was paying someone else to do in an area that I could have probably taken care of myself had I not had that mentorship. And so obviously, like I've said, like income wise, client base wise, working less hours now than I was before, hiring somebody, like those are all huge pivots in my business. that working with Luke and having him in my ear, available via email whenever I needed it, developing this whole continuing education, there's no way I would have been able to get through this past year pushing through that, because I wanted to quit so many times working on it. Had I not had the accountability and the encouragement and the expertise, because if Luke didn't have an answer, he had 2 or 3 people that he could bring in that I was able to get on calls with like this to help me out. So it was invaluable in terms of that. I know initially I was like, man, I don't know if I have the expense every month, because it was during COVID and it was the time where you were cutting expenses on everything. But I'm so glad that I budgeted that in and made a way for it, because it's paid off obviously immensely. I told you I had the best year I've ever had last year. So now I look at that expense like that is not a big deal, because the investment was incredibly worth it in terms of financial part of it, outside of just all the other aspects that have allowed me to pivot my business in a successful way that either I didn't see or I was dragging my feet on. So the levels of mentorship, yeah, I would encourage that to anyone, even if it doesn't look like you can budget it in at the moment. It's worth it, and you should take that leap, because I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah,
where my business is now, I mean, I can't say I did anything different. This is the one thing that changed for me last year.
Yeah,
was hiring a mentor. So
no, I mean, that's so important, and I think if you're doing it right and you're with the right mentorship, it shouldn't be an expense. Like it should be, again, just like an employee, it should be adding value to the business.
Yeah.
And to me, if you're doing anything that isn't adding value, that's a red flag. Then there's something going on there that should be paid attention to. So I think that's a really good point, and I appreciate you, obviously, you sharing your perspective on it and how it has helped you through this time. And obviously just in general in your business, because I think that's important to remember that any great entrepreneur out there, no matter what industry, has gotten there by themselves solely.
Exactly.
They all have mentorship.
Right.
So to think that, I think like maybe you can be like the special one that it doesn't need anybody else in your life to help you. It's kind of like setting yourself up for failure there.
Right. Well, and if you're trying to sell yourself as a coach to other people, yet you yourself isn't willing to hire someone, then that to me feels extremely inauthentic, and that's a huge value of mine. But you can't demand from someone what you yourself aren't doing and aren't willing to pay and own up to yourself. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, I have a coach. I have someone that coaches me, because that's how we all are able to move forward successfully. And so I'm not too good to, like you said, not need a coach when I'm demanding and trying to sell you on a product or a program that I want you to buy from me. I can't be too good to not do that for myself. So
yeah, definitely. It's authentic. And are you living what you're preaching? And that is it in a nutshell. And I think that's a great note to end this conversation on. And it's really been a great conversation. I think you shared some powerful insights that I know some people are going to take some great perspective back to their business, which is what we want. So we really appreciate you taking the time to do this with us, to share your story, your insights, and what you've been going through and what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, and basically, you said, like in the beginning, giving back to the community, because that's really what it's about. When we all rise together, we all win. I mean, and that's what we want. So thank you so much for being willing to do this today.
Yeah, well, thank you. I owe you guys a lot. So.
It's a mutual experience. It's like, as much as like we help you, you also help us too. I mean, and that's how it is any coaching relationship, even with your clients. I mean, it's a give and take relationship, and that's how it should be. It's everybody contributing to it for the greater outcome of it. And also, lastly, real quick reminder again for you guys listening, don't forget, I'm going to be reaching out to you to invite you to our Facebook group, the Fitness Business Mastery, where we share some great resources and tactics in there, but also kind of piggybacking off of what we've been talking about with the mentorship. It's an environment to help nurture you and support you and coach you so that you actually apply these resources, because we don't want it to be something that just collects virtual dust in your email inbox or something like that. It doesn't do you any good. So be on the lookout for that. And that's it for today's hot seat interview. Again, Anna, thank you so much for your time and being willing to jump on here with us. It's been a pleasure. And I will see you guys on the next hot seat.
Thank you.